Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. We've got some new Obscurities for you today. In front of us we have the Wei Yuan Trainee form from Motor Nuclear. So in the past we've seen quite a few of the Motor Nuclear kits on this channel. They're usually quite large, they usually have a die-cast inner frame, and they're usually quite pokey in all of the best of ways, and they are usually full of undercuts and undergates that need a lot of work. So this is the first time that they have released a kind of grunt unit. So somebody had pointed out to me that this whole Legend of the Star General was an online comic series that was being serialized. Had a chance to track some of that down and flip through it, and they do actually have these in there, so that's kind of cool to see. I know that they were going to be putting some model kits out of some of their previously released other die-cast models that were like 1/72nd scale, so that's something to look forward to as well. But here you can see a breakdown of what he's coming with. The Heavenly Capital Standard Longsword, not just a regular standard longsword, but a Heavenly Capital one. We've got beam crossbows, we've got the shields, and I want to say there are face mask variants. Yep. So again, we've got the metal inner frame that doesn't look as large or as much metal as some of the other guys. I could be wrong. And one of the nice things about these kits is they are incredibly posable. Here you can see some of the face designs. I'm probably just going to go with the blank typical one. I'm not 100% sure. The beast's face could pull down. Okay, so he's got like a mouth in his belly there. This box is substantially smaller than the previous Motor Nuclear kits that we have seen. Not to say that there are not a ridiculous amount of parts here, so that's kind of cool. The loincloth is a transparent plastic. Looks like the shield. Oh. The faces are actually all pre-painted for the masks. Kind of a nice touch. More translucent and colored parts already. Again, that is really nice to see on there. As of, well, this, I have yet to see any need for stickers on a Motor Nuclear kit. There have been decals in the past, but not extensive ones. Again, we can see that there are paint apps on the armor there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like for the price, the quality of these kits are really, really worth it. Now, I can understand if maybe the style of the mech isn't necessarily somebody's preference. Obviously, they have a bit of a traditional Chinese martial arts vibe going on with it. So these two frames look to be almost repeats. I don't think they are, but similar to the previous frames with the base. And, oh, I guess there are some stickers there. So the bases and the hands, I think so far have been pretty interchangeable. Can't say you're not getting a lot of parts for your buck here, though. You are definitely going to have a good solid model to build. Now, this doesn't feel as heavy as the others. Motor Nuclear does not build the inner frames ahead of time. And you can see how all the parts here are included. Yeah, there's definitely not as much in the way of metal with this one. We've got some interesting hard plastic joints of some sort. Nice part breakdown of everything included. I do like the fact that if you're like me and you like to cut open the bags of everything, they have all of these various pieces individually labeled, so if you do mix them up, you're good to go here. One of the other really nice things, and I don't recall if the instructions were in English as well as Chinese. I'll have to double check. One of the best parts here is for each subsection that you build, they actually are going to tell you exactly which frame, but then also which color you need to be looking for, which, you know, when you have 50 frames, and especially on some of these motor nuclear kits, there are an awful lot. And when they can be very similar looking, it's really handy and helpful, I think, to see everything broken down like that. And it is nice to see that even the warnings are going to be in English, along with some kind of a little picture to give you a heads up. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but of all the kits, and I think I've built every one of their basic kits at this point, haven't built any of the fancy extra coating or, you know, supplemental ones, but they've all been really serious, solid, sturdy kits. I have no complaints. They're quite impressive pieces when they're finished. He does have a little bit of a different base. Usually they have like a triangle set of 3 of these bases all hooked together like the Motor Nuclear logo. But all in all, this looks like a pretty nice way to spend some time. I'm looking forward to getting them built. The sun's out. It's a nice day. Perfect way to spend it, right? Because my family's all running around. Otherwise, I'd be spending it with them. So if you're going to give me a second, hopefully I'm not going to take 3.5 weeks to finish building it, but we'll see the results soon enough, so sit tight. All right, we got our trainee model all put together here. The Wei Yuan, I believe, was the official title. And I gotta say, as always is the case with the Motor Nuclear kits, really solid build. There's a couple parts on this guy that are a little bit fiddly. He's got these little clasp things hanging off the front of his armor, but overall, I gotta say, really, really solid kit. Now, it's not as bulky in terms of its overall weight as some of the other models. It's pretty simple in its accessories. You've got some variants on the front skirt armor. You have, obviously, the sword. And then knock things over. You've got his shield, which is actually kind of cool. And then you've got, whoa, the crossbow here as well. So one of the cool things about this is actually the modular nature of these little hard points. You'll see there's a lot of these little circle spots all over the kit. And you can actually plug with the adapters. There's a couple of different ones included. You can then plug them in all over the body on the back. I think there's one on the sword even, yeah. So this is the sword hand. I don't want to yank it apart. There's a little spot on his lower back of the waist. You can attach it. You get plenty of hands and all those parts. But overall, it's a nice, pretty solid kit. And this is the first time we've seen like a grunt kit from Motor Nuclear. Very simple stand. You'll see it's only one of the hexagons here. In the past, usually the bases are made out of 3 hexagons with a much more significant support base. Now, one thing I came across that was interesting while building this was the fact that there were a lot of unused parts, which then caused me to look more carefully at the actual sprues. And you'll see this is for MNP XH678. This model is actually the MNPX H6. The 6 is the Trainee, the 7 is the like hero model, and I think the 8 is going to be the gold version. There's a gold one. The hero one or the sergeant one is going to be a white kit with these little extra blade holders here that go on his back, and he's got a bunch of extra blades all over him. So it's kind of cool that we're going to see some recycled, reused parts, because so far with this lineup, every single kit has been completely unique outside of the hands. The hand sprue has been the same as far as I can recall. I don't have any of my hand sprues left over, unfortunately, from the earlier kits. Otherwise, I would absolutely go check that out. Can I get that attached onto your arm there? inquiring minds would like to know. And naturally, as soon as I try to pause things, it goes on without any issues. Speaking of issues, you're going to want to be careful with these skirt armors. They have very, very thin connection pieces. They're just a little peg, basically, and that's it. That's all you have holding things together. On the hip piece, that is. The hip armor, that's the only one that's really an issue. Everything else, you know, and even then, you can see it's fine. I've messed with it, fiddled with it, moved it around, no issues. But what really surprised me the most about this kit after building it, I did mention, I believe, when I opened the box, it seemed a little bit smaller than the previous Motor Nuclear kits. And again, some of those had ridiculously huge wings or extra dragons or things like that. So I've got the bike key here. And as you can see, there is a bit of a size discrepancy. Obviously, the hero model, who is barely fitting on the camera, minus his wings, significantly larger price tag. I think, personally, a really impressive kit. Honestly, one of my favorites that I've built in some time. There is a significant amount of heft to him due to the amount of metal. There is metal in him. It's just nowhere near as much. But, you know, different styles and everything. And in case you're curious, with the 1/144th Gundam there, just to get a good idea of size. Where he goes to the thigh of the bike key, he goes to about the waist of the Wei Yuan. So, something to keep in mind there. And again, the price isn't bad. I want to say this guy was probably under $40 with shipping at most reasonable retailers. So, do keep your eyes peeled. Get yourself a good price if this is something you're interested in. It's a nice introduction to this style of model, and it's not going to look super out of place, I feel like, with, you know, the various fantasy themed models, whereas, you know, like this guy is just sharp, pointy parts everywhere and is a much different aesthetic compared to the kind of smooth, simpler lines of the Wei Yuan. Both of them are incredibly posable. Both of them have really solid joint mechanisms because that's where all the metal pieces are, so you're not going to have to worry about that. Very easy to pose. Construction-wise, no real issue other than, much like his bigger brother here, there's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot of undergates that you're going to be clipping off the bottoms of things. So do be careful. Make sure you got bright light, and make sure you've got a solid surface, and make sure you don't do it in the carpet underneath you, because there is always a good chance those pieces might go flying and disappearing, and we don't want that, do we? No. So overall, fun little kit. If you want to describe this as little, I mean, it's not like that little. I mean, maybe in comparison to like the Scope Dog here, who's always keeping me company. But even in that case, you know, they're still decent sized kits. My dream is to have something to do with like fantasy figures. I'm thinking like some RNS Studios Out of Focus. There we go. Like their Neo Kingdom stuff, which they actually have a new campaign if you guys want to check that out. Fun stuff there. But back to the Wei Yuan here. I gotta say, cool kit. As to be expected from Motor Nuclear. I guess my only real slight disappointment is the lack of really heavy, chunky metal parts to it. But again, that's going to bring up the price as well. So that is that nice balance. And for an almost entirely plastic kit with no stickers whatsoever, and as well some metal joints and parts in there, for under $40 with shipping, I really can't complain. I think that's pretty darn fair. I think I paid $37 for mine. That's kind of wild in today's current inflated market. So do your due diligence, keep an eye out for good deals, and I gotta say, this is one of those kinds of kits that is absolutely going to get my recommendation. So if you're in the mood for something different, I absolutely give this a wholeheartedly encouraged 2 thumbs up in my case. But then again, I also love the fantasy wuxia aesthetic, so, you know, I may be a bit biased, but that's just me. And with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye!